The galactic news feeds had been buzzing for weeks. The draconian hatchlings, 5 of them no bigger than Earth dogs, had vanished from the Imperial nursery on Proxima Station. The Draconians, ancient and powerful beings who'd ruled 3 star systems for millennia, were frantic. Their young were precious, born only once every century, and these 5 represented the future of their entire species. John Mackenzie didn't pay much attention to galactic politics. He was too busy trying to keep his farm running on the frontier world of New Terra, where the soil was red and stubborn, and the crops required twice the work for half the yield of Earth. But he loved it. The open sky, the honest labor, the simplicity of a life far from the crowded inner worlds. It was early morning when he walked into his barn, carrying a bucket of feed for his livestock. The twin suns were just breaking over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. He yawned, still shaking off sleep, when he heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound, like a dozen small bellows working in unison. John froze. There, nestled in the corner of his barn among the hay bales, were 5 creatures that definitely didn't belong there. They were covered in iridescent scales that shifted from deep emerald to burnished copper in the morning light. Small wings, translucent and delicate, were folded against their sides. Smoke wisps curled from their nostrils with each sleeping breath. "Holy hell," John whispered. "The baby dragons." His first instinct was to call the authorities. The reward for finding them was probably astronomical. The Draconians would pay anything to get their young back safely. But as John stood there, watching them sleep so peacefully in his barn, something gave him pause. These weren't the terrifying creatures of legend. They were babies, exhausted babies by the look of it. Their scales were dull in places, and one of them had a scrape along its side. They'd been through something. John pulled out his comm device, then hesitated. Before he called anyone, he needed to understand what had happened. He needed help, and there was only one person he trusted with something this big. 20 minutes later, Hazel Okonkwo's air skimmer touched down outside the barn. She was John's closest neighbor, 5 kilometers away, and the smartest person he knew. She'd been a xenobiologist before retiring to New Terra, and if anyone could help him figure this out, it was her. "You weren't kidding," Hazel breathed as she knelt beside the sleeping dragons. Her dark eyes were wide with wonder, her scanner already out and humming softly. "John, do you have any idea what you found?" 5 baby dragons that the entire galaxy is looking for? 5 baby dragons that ran away, Hazel corrected, studying her readings. "Look at this. Stress hormones through the roof. Signs of prolonged fear response. And this one," she gestured to the smallest, "has chemical burns consistent with sterilization agents." John's jaw tightened. "Someone hurt them?" "The Imperial Nursery is known for its strict protocols," Hazel said carefully. "The Draconians are an old species set in their ways, traditional. Their hatchling care hasn't evolved in thousands of years." She looked up at him. "I've read papers about it. The babies are kept in sterile environments, handled with instruments raised according to rigid schedules. It's supposed to produce strong leaders, but they're still babies," John finished. "And babies need more than that." As if in response, one of the dragons stirred. Its eyes opened. Huge, golden, and filled with intelligence far beyond what John expected. It looked at him, then at Hazel, and John could have sworn he saw fear flicker across its reptilian features. "Hey there, little one," John said softly, sitting down on the hay. "It's okay. You're safe here." The dragon tilted its head, processing. Then slowly it crawled forward and pressed its warm, scaled head against John's leg. Something in John's chest cracked open. Over the next hour, as the other dragons woke, John and Hazel fed them. They were delighted by the chickens. Thankfully, they only ate the feed, not the birds, gave them water and tended to their minor injuries. The dragons were wary at first, but responded to gentle voices and patient movements. They played in the hay, chasing each other with high-pitched chirps that sounded almost like laughter. "What are we going to do?" Hazel asked quietly as they watched the dragons tumble over each other. "We can't keep them. The Draconians will tear the galaxy apart looking for them." "No," John agreed. "But we can't just hand them back to a place that made them so miserable they ran away. That's the Imperial family you're talking about. They could destroy this entire planet if they wanted to." "Maybe," John said. "Or maybe they're just parents who don't know there's a better way." That afternoon, John made the call. Within hours, 3 massive draconian warships appeared in New Terra's orbit. Within a day, the Empress herself materialized in John's barn via quantum transport, her massive form barely fitting through the doorway. She was magnificent and terrifying, 30 feet of armored scales, wings that scraped the ceiling, eyes like molten gold. But when she saw her babies all sleeping in a pile with John sitting guard beside them, something in her ancient face softened. "You found them," she said, her voice resonating like a gong. "They found me, Your Majesty," John replied, standing but not backing away. "And before you take them, you need to know why they left." It was the boldest thing he'd ever done, lecturing an empress. But Hazel stood beside him, presenting her findings, explaining what the hatchlings needed. Not sterile chambers and rigid schedules, but warmth, play, gentleness, the things all babies needed regardless of species. The Empress listened. Her tail lashed once, twice, then stilled. She looked at her sleeping children, then at the human farmer who'd kept them safe. "You could have claimed the reward," she said finally. "Enough credits to buy 100 farms." "Didn't feel right," John said simply. "They're not cargo. They're kids." Something flickered in the Empress's eyes. Respect, perhaps, or recognition. She lowered her massive head. "The old ways are not always the best ways, perhaps. We have much to learn from humans." She paused. "Would you teach us, John Mackenzie? Would you show my people how to raise our young with the gentleness you have shown?" John glanced at Hazel, who nodded encouragingly. He looked at the sleeping dragons, at the peace on their tiny faces. "I'm just a farmer, Your Majesty," he said. "But yeah, I'd be honored to help." The Empress smiled, a terrifying sight on a creature so large, and touched one claw gently to her sleeping children. "Then perhaps there is hope for us yet. The humans have taught us warfare, diplomacy, trade. Now they will teach us something far more important, how to love our children properly." As the dragons woke and swarmed their mother with happy chirps, John caught Hazel's eye. She was grinning. "What?" he asked. "Only humans," she laughed, "would lecture an empress about childcare and live to tell about it." John shrugged, smiling as the smallest dragon climbed onto his shoulder one last time before leaving. Someone had to, the end.